So I just want to talk about a theory that I like to call the artifact. Now the artifact is a key point in a person's processing where truth is. I call it the truth processor. And it's a key point in someone's mind where truths are processed. And an artifact is if you can take that process and not even change it, but make sure that a being has a different understanding of what natural state is. I'll try to explain. For instance, there's a natural order to how things work. The sun goes up, the sun comes down. There's an order. If it didn't do that, everything would be different. Now, the way we live right now, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's a different way to we used to live, or we can live, or could live. And the only way that you can make that happen on mass scale is if you can control or create an artifact in the minds of people, and then create an environment around that person, which infers to the artifact that what it's seeing is how things are. Try to give you an example. So this is your mind. I like to refer to it as the fourth dimension, just because it's inside and it's not out, and there's no way of making it external apart from if you use the method in which way energy comes into the universe, which is sound, geometry, and frequency. And we can do all of that. And we use those in different ways and measures to then put anything from the fourth dimension into the third dimension, like a book or a cartoon, anything creative, art. So we're going to have second dimension up here. We're going to have the third here. Oops. The third here, which is the environment. Let me draw this all out first. Then we have this here. I'm going to call this the sixth. Yeah, that'll do. So, as pure energy comes into the third dimension, it comes through as sound, geometry, and frequency. And in lots of different mixtures of all of those, create all the things that we see in the third, from rocks to trees to us to animals, because all of these together create light. And as that light comes into the third dimension, it's a different space, because when all the different combinations are made, obviously there's a spark, because it's three coming to one again. That energy given off then projects into the environment. Now, you only see big, and some people may refer that to the soul, but the bigger someone use the bigger the density and the complexity of all of these weights and measures, you get like different beings from ants to humans. And then, like, for instance, you're going to get large combinations of these, but not quite dense enough to form more intricate patterns. So then you get whales, for instance, because they're massive, and giant octopuses and all this stuff down there in the sea. Yeah, so you get all of that. Now humans, our configured light is special because it comes with the following, which is active mind, memory, subconscious, excuse the spelling, active mind, memory, subconscious, dreams, and then I'm just going to call this bit here the path to the astral plane. So everything comes into the environment in different ways and measures of sound, geometry and frequency. That then gets projected into the third environment as pure light, and depending on the weights, depending on the strength from all the weights and measures, you get different things. Humans manifest as humans, and we get all of this, and we can. But what differs is that for humans, we are more active in our projection. So we are the projected, but we also projects because which then can be then taken back in and redone. Just for instance, you can see a piece of art. You can see like a piece of art, which is a two-dimensional reference. You take it inside to your fourth dimension through the active mind. You put it to memory, and it goes into your subconscious. And at some point, you can even dream of this piece of art that you've seen. Then it all comes back, and then you go back out and put into the environment and create your own unique piece of artwork, which was inferred by the first active piece that you saw. Now, at some point, there's a point where as things come in, we can see and we can understand it because there's this feedback loop. It actually goes a bit deeper when you go into the sixth as well, because it's directly linked to the third, and because it's all energy based, it keeps the energy's got to be recycled somehow, and we do our part by creating our environment to then further the energy experience. That's all it wants. And if you can get that key point in a person, you can where truth, for instance, let's just say truth is processed here. If you can get a person to subconsciously understand all the different weights of measures of these in the environment and tweak how they interact with the environment, because it's a ladder that goes up and down, you can alter a way of being things and actually alter the way that the third dimension is entirely, because it's linked to the sixth. Because when you dream, if you can get past the dream state, because this is where if I do this here, this is where you start to synthesize information into light, which goes into your dreams. So then the path goes here, then you project into as light, you project into the sixth dimension, which is the astral plane. And if you can actually get a being to understand certain universal truths and process it in such a way, you can actually cut a person off from the astral plane, but you can still feed the astral plane with the energy. For instance, the Superman sigil. Because we now see the Superman sigil and we go, oh yeah, that's Superman, instead of going, okay, then what does that S symbolise? It symbolises this, so I've got a good understanding of what S is. Okay, what colours are there? Okay, then let me have a look at those colours, I can break it down, and why they're both together. Okay, so that's the way that they two interact. Then you see the sign that's around it, and you understand what that means and its orientation. Now, okay, then my interpretation of this is yada yada yada. You have then solidified to memory and your subconscious what each individual bit means, because you understand the original form, you understand what the original form of these mean, of sound, geometry and frequency mean in the third environment. You're an informed being. And to that end, with work, you can actually project and get into the astral plane because you know truths, and the light will only carry truths. Why would it carry falsities? It's because it goes through your interpretation. But if a person only knows this sign as Superman, then Superman has all these different powers. He's a man. He's an alien, which is just an anagram for angel. See, there's a little bit of truth in there, so you can actually come that, because this angel reference gets compounded from religion, and then from religion, media has taken over, and it's also become part of cultural language. So just in that is all of this comes from, even if a being doesn't, even if an individual doesn't know that, because they see, and then even if an individual doesn't know that, it's a universal truth, but it's getting snuck under through the symbol of Superman. But yeah, and then you get also all the different things about aliens attached to that as well. But then also within the universe in which Superman is put together, they also explain how his alien nature is as well. So there's more understanding. They just keep on compounding all of these what seem to be fanciful anecdotes from the universe, but it actually all conforms to a universal truth here. Yeah, and we know he's a Superman. That comes with all its connotations. And I've gone quite heavy into this. Me and my friends are really big. One of my friends is a really big fan. And at some point, Superman becomes this entity called Monitor, and Monitor is just pure universal energy. So it's also universal energy. So all of this is under this banner. You watch this, you take it in, it goes into your active mind, you then synthesize all of the different knowledge that you have taken in about Superman and what you could understand. A lot of that goes to memory, because you don't really need to, all of that goes to memory because you really don't need to know that Superman can bench press 10 Earths every day. Excuse me. Excuse me. And then from memory, because the subconscious is there just to mop up all the things that you don't think is important, but everything is important because everything is energy. So everything else just goes straight into here. That's why if the synthesis is strong enough and it holds it, you can have people dreaming about Superman, be it them helping him or being seen Superman, but I don't think you'd ever really see people as Superman is in a weak state, in a normal human state, and vulnerable without any of this, because I guess that would mean certain things. That would mean that you got to the point where you realise, oh, maybe I'm Superman. But obviously your subconscious hasn't quite informed your memory at that point, but you're on the right path. So this goes into your dreams now, because you only interpret the multi-layered symbol as this, and you've been dreaming about it, you're passing this straight through to the astral plane. You're passing this straight through to the astral plane. So now there's a thought form which is now being synthesized through light because it came through this channel. And Superman's just freely roaming. I say freely roaming on the astral plane. Now he has a space on the astral plane, along with everything else that has come through about Superman. And configured properly, and if the person who created it knew what it was doing, then if they were the powerful enough being to get to this point, then that's them. They created that. That's their sigil. They created that here. So they get all of the energy when it gets here. But because you're not powerful enough to get through, only the symbol and sigil, because remember the sixth is a synthesis of everybody taking all of this in. It's outside the time, as we say. Just because everybody thinks it, boom, it's in the astral plane. That's why it's so important to understand what you see in your environment. The companies are doing these. You see, these companies doing it. It's company logos. It's, as you can see, it's arts of work. It's found in books. It's everywhere, and the artifact is the thing that skews a person's perception on things, because it doesn't make them wholly interested in any of this. It makes the glow of this seem more important, and hence a person becomes hijacked. And this form can work on many different levels. You've just got to, as long as the person in the third dimension knows how to synthesize something properly, a true form of work to get to here, then you can actively just access this here.